Sonic Rumble is a pretty interesting game. What everyone initially recognized as a shallow Fall Guys clone has now morphed into a competent, solid PvP Sonic game with its own identity. The reception of those who've played it is overall really positive. There's still a consistent enough player base despite the game having not launched in a lot of giant markets, most notably the US, and it's already going strong with a number of events. I think this is a clear and undisputed win for Sega because I don't know how many people see it, but it's very clear that they've been really trying to tap into the competitive PvP market of online gaming, especially with Sonic Racing Crossroads also coming out later this year. A lot of game franchises have tried to do this with varying levels of success. You saw Resident Evil try to launch that RE-verse title in the previous game, Resident Evil Resistance. I bring that up as an example to highlight that there's a pretty notable trend of a lot of single-player, long-running franchises trying to branch out with games that support seasonal content. And Sonic Rumble is no different. However, as most of you know, the game has been delayed yet again, which has caused a lot of people to grow concerned. Not necessarily with the delay itself, but how the game will be able to recover from it. What do I mean by that? Well, despite Sonic Rumble's initial success, there are a lot of things running against it. Before we dive into such examples, if you end up enjoying this video, please be sure to leave a like, it helps out a lot, and subscribe for more Sonic content. It'd really help out and mean the world to me. The first big aspect of Sonic Rumble I want to talk about is its formulaic structure. Like we mentioned previously, this game is wearing its Fall Guys inspiration on its sleeve. It's more or less a battle royale death race that supports squads, solo play, etc. And the many components made to draw players back are things such as a seasonal pass, purchasable cosmetics, and limited time events. And if you're no stranger to gaming, pretty much every single thing I just listed can be found in your standard live service game. There's a reason this formula is used so often, and it's because it works. However, my question is whether it will work for a franchise such as Sonic the Hedgehog. What do I mean? Well, the majority of the Sonic fandom are primarily interested in single-player, story-heavy titles. After all, that is the main draw of the series, and Sega is aware of this. And while Sonic itself is a mainstream franchise, the core dedicated player base are primarily interested in stuff that can be found in the mainline games. So what I'm really trying to say here is, who is this game for? It can't really be for Sonic fans because, as I just said, this game is a significant departure from what the Sonic series usually entails. Well, is it for casual gamers? Well, the thing is that Sonic Rumble is still trying to scratch that Sonic niche, what with its many recognizable characters and locales. Not to mention the Sonic-esque nature of its death race gameplay. I'm not saying that this game would be a turnoff for casual gamers, far from it. What I am saying is, what reason would a casual gamer have to choose Sonic Rumble over a game like Fall Guys, or Fortnite, or your many other live service battle royale-esque type experiences? I don't know what will allow Rumble to stand out as its own thing. A good counter to this is, well, look at stuff like Sonic Dash, or Sonic Speed Simulator, or Sonic Forces Speed Race. All three of those games have pretty dedicated player bases and are running strong all these years later, and that is true. But the thing about Sonic Rumble is it's a much more expensive and large-scale endeavor than any of those three titles combined. This is Sega's first real attempt to tap into the live service market. I'm not saying this is probably the most expensive thing to produce, but Sega will need to make a return on their investment. And I'm not sure the player count and the amount of people engaging with all the seasonal passes, microtransactions, etc. will be enough to warrant continued support. The second major thing I want to mention is the delay. I want you guys to think for a moment. Think if Sonic Rumble was as fun of a game as people are saying it is, and it was just shadow dropped globally out of nowhere. The player count for this thing would be absolutely through the roof. The hype would be immeasurable. Everyone would be playing this. But you see, that's not what happened. Sonic Rumble was announced a year ago. And a lot of people everywhere else have been able to play this for as long as a year. In fact, many people have already grinded most of the skins that you are able to unlock. Meanwhile, people in the US, a very sizable market, have not been able to play this. And Sonic fans in this area have grown very tired and frustrated with the game's numerous delays and unsatisfactory feedback from Sega. So when this game does eventually release globally, I'm not sure how many people will necessarily be that excited for it. Everyone's already seen what it has to offer. Not only that, but a lot of people, including myself, have missed out on that initial hype wave and are behind everyone else who have had the time to grind out the entire game. Granted, there can be new content added further that everyone can experience at the same time all across the world when the game drops universally, but it may be too little too late. I'm worried that all of the hype for Rumble has essentially just been completely drained with how underwhelming of a launch this has been. I say launch in quotations because it hasn't even really launched yet. Also, a pretty big thing of note is Rumble isn't coming to consoles, it's only coming to mobile and PC. Now, don't screw around the mobile market. The mobile market is ginormous, probably just as, if not bigger than the console market. I'm not saying that the game is doomed because it's missing out on the console market. What I am saying is Rumble is not going to reach anywhere near the same popularity as other live service giants like Fall Guys, Fortnite, what have you. Because the console market is pretty big, and I think restricting this title only to PC and mobile players isn't a smart idea. In good news, there is the matter of replayability that Rumble does seem to have down packed. There's a crazy amount of unlockables, there's already events coming out for the game, and if the developers keep up the momentum, they can keep their dedicated players satisfied for potentially years to come. My worry though, is if they will do just that, keep up the momentum. If Speed Simulator and all the other live service titles are anything to go by, I'm pretty confident they will. But again, the fact that they do is crucial because of all the other reasons stated, this is a necessary thing to do. So in conclusion, do I think Rumble will be a success? I do, for a year or maybe 2 years, and it might be enough for the game to be considered a success. But with a struggling identity, unceremonious launch, and not that many aspects boosting its popularity, I am worried at how well this game will do once it comes out. Again, it's clear Sega really wants to tap into the live service market, whether that's a good or bad thing. I think if handled properly, Rumble could be the first step in succeeding in that. But good old cynical me does have my doubts. And if I were a betting man, I'd say that Rumble doesn't really have that many things going for it in the future. But again, we'll just have to wait and see. If you enjoyed this video, please leave a like, it helps out immensely, it takes one click. And if you want more Sonic content like this, be sure to subscribe. There's gonna be a lot more of it coming in the future. And lastly, I have a Ratchet & Clank audio series premiering on this channel, Ratchet & Clank Galactic Peril. Episode 3 is coming this Friday, so if you want to get caught up before the plot really thickens, feel free to check it out, the link will be in the description. Thanks for watching, and peace out.